I was the one who called first. Most days after work, I asked how your day had been. You usually gave short answers when you had a problem. You knew I would listen when I had a bad day. You were often too busy. I kept saying it was fine because I liked you too much. I wanted to believe you would care more with time. You never chose me. You never chose me. I was always the one who tried. I made plans around you. You made plans when you were free. You never chose me. Now I understand. I wanted a relationship. You only wanted a friend. I remembered your birthday. I remembered your meetings. I knew when you were tired and when you needed space. You forgot things about me that I had told you before. I noticed every time, but I never said anything. I kept hoping you would change without me asking you to. But nothing really changed and I got more tired. You never chose me. You never chose me. I was always the one who tried. I made plans around you. You made plans when you were free. You never chose me. Now I understand. I wanted a relationship. You only wanted a friend. You did not promise me anything, so I cannot say you lied. I just stayed too long, hoping you would feel the same. I liked you more, you liked me less. That is hard to accept, but it is still the truth. You never chose me. You never chose me. So I need to stop waiting. I cannot keep giving you more time than you give me. You never chose me, and I know that now. I wanted something serious. You did not want that with me. You used to text me every morning before you started work, and some days you forgot, and most days you stopped. At first I asked if you were okay. You said you were busy. I believed you because I wanted to. Then I saw you had time for other people. You just did not have the same time for me. I was easy to leave, easy to leave. You stopped talking to me slow. message from your number. I still checked our old chat, even when nothing was new. A friend said you looked happy. I said I was glad, and I went home early because I did not want to talk. You had already moved on before I understood. I was still waiting for something you had ended. I was easy to leave, easy to leave. You stopped talking to me slowly. No big argument, no final conversation. You just contacted me less. I was easy to leave, but I missed you for months. You changed your routine. I kept checking mine for you. I do not know exactly when you stopped caring. Maybe it happened slowly. Maybe I noticed too late. I only know I wanted you to stay, and you did not. I was easy to leave, but I will not keep waiting. If you do not call tonight, I will not call you either. I was easy to leave, but I can still move on. It may take some time, but I will stop checking for you. We had dinner every Friday. You usually sat beside me. You sent me songs sometimes and asked if I liked them. You told me private things you did not tell everyone. I thought that meant you wanted more than friendship. But every time I got closer, you changed the subject. Every time I asked about us, you said, let's not make it complicated. We were almost something, at least that is what I believed. We spent a lot of time together, but we never became a couple. Almost something, that is all it was. I wanted a relationship. You wanted things to stay the same. Your messages became less frequent. You stopped asking to meet. I still waited on Fridays for plans that did not happen. Then I saw you with someone outside a restaurant. You were holding hands and I understood. I did not call you, I did not ask questions. You were free to date anyone because we were never together. We were couple. Almost something, that is all it was. I wanted a relationship. You wanted things to stay the same. There was no breakup because there was no relationship. There was no final talk because nothing had been agreed. I just had to stop hoping for something you never wanted. We were almost something, but I do not want that again. I do not want to guess what someone feels about me. Almost something is not enough for me now. I want someone who says clearly that they want to be with me. You called me after midnight because you could not sleep. You said you had argued with someone you were dating. I listened for an hour. You said you felt better the next morning. You barely replied. This happened many times, and I kept answering because I liked you and I wanted to be useful to you. You want me when you're lonely, only when you're lonely, when you have no one else to call. You call me when you feel better. You stop talking again. You want me when you're lonely, and I keep letting it happen. I stopped making late plans because you might call. I kept my phone close even when I was tired. Then you told me you were seeing someone new. You said you really liked him and asked what I thought. I said he sounded nice because I did not know what else to say. You had no idea I wanted you for myself. You want me when you're lonely, only when you're lonely, when you have no one else to call. You call me when you feel better. You stop talking again. You want me when you're lonely, and I keep letting it happen. When you say I miss you, I know what you mean now. You miss talking to me. When you feel bad, you do not mean you wanna date me. I have to stop pretending those are the same thing. You want me when you're lonely, only when you're lonely, but I cannot keep doing this. Every waiting. I knew your work schedule, I knew when you got home. I knew you hated early mornings and liked coffee without sugar. I learned all of that because I paid attention. You knew a few things about me, but not nearly as much. When something good happened, you called other people first. When something bad happened, sometimes you called me later. I was never your first call, never your first call, but you were always mine. I answer when you needed me, you answer when you had time. I was never your first call, and I finally noticed I gave you more attention than you gave me. On my birthday, you texted late at night. You wrote one short sentence and added a smile. I said thank you, then put my phone down. I felt stupid for being hurt, but I still was. You had not done anything wrong, you just cared less than I did. That difference was enough to hurt me. I was never your first call, never your first call, but you were always mine. I answer when you needed me, you answer when you had time. I was never your first call, and I finally noticed I gave you more attention than you gave me. I do not want to blame you for not feeling the same. You cannot force yourself to want someone. I only wish I had accepted it earlier. I was never your first call, never your first call, but I do not want to keep waiting for that to change. I was never your first call, and that tells me enough. I need someone who thinks of me without being reminded. You sent me songs, you asked if I got home safely. You remembered things I said, even weeks later. I thought those things meant you liked me in a romantic way. did not ask directly, I just assumed. Every nice message made me more sure. I did not stop to think that you might only be a good friend. I read it wrong, I read it wrong. You cared about me, but not the way I thought. You said I miss you, I thought you wanted me. You meant you missed talking, I wanted it to mean more. I read it wrong, I read it wrong. Then you told me you like someone from work. You asked me how you should ask her out. I helped you write the message even though I felt sick when she said yes. You were very happy. I smiled for you because I did not want you to know that I had hoped you would ask me instead. I read it wrong, I read it wrong. You cared about me, but not the way I thought. You said I miss you, I thought you wanted me. You meant you missed talking, I wanted it to mean more. I read it wrong, I read it wrong. You did not trick me, you did not lie. You called me your friend, I wanted to be more. That was my hope, not your promise. I read it wrong, I read it wrong. You liked having me around, but you did not want a relationship. I do not blame you, but I need some distance, because being close to you makes it harder for me to stop hoping. We met at the same cafe, like we usually did. You ordered your usual drink, then said you had news. For 1 second I thought you might talk about me. Then you said you had started seeing someone. I asked his name, I asked how you met. You answered everything and looked very happy. You told me about him, you told me about him. You said he makes you laugh, you said he calls you every day. I said that sounds good, and tried to sound normal. You told me about him while I was sitting there, knowing I had wanted the same thing with you. your dates with him. You tell me where you went and what you talked about. You sent me a photo of the two of you together. I wrote, you look happy, because you did. I really do want good things for you. I just wish I had been one of them. You told me about him. You told me about him. You said he makes you laugh. You said he calls you every day. I said that sounds good, and tried to sound normal. You told me about him while I was sitting there, knowing I had wanted the same thing with you. I had many chances to tell you how I felt. After dinner in your car on the walk home, I kept waiting for a better time. Then you met him, and I stopped having that choice. You told me about him, and now I know you are not waiting for me. You never were. I said I'm happy for you, and part of me meant it. You told me about him, and I finally stopped hoping that one day you would say the same things about me. I kept Friday nights free, in case you wanted to meet. I turned down other plans more than once. Sometimes you texted late and asked what I was doing. I always said nothing, I'm free. I wanted you to think you could always depend on me. I did not notice how much I was changing my life for you. I stayed available. I stayed available. Any day, anytime you called, I answered. You asked, I came. I stayed available. But you did not do the same for me. You sometimes disappeared for several days, then you came back and acted normal. I did not ask questions because I was afraid. If I asked for more, you would stop calling. So I accepted less than I actually wanted, because having something felt better than having nothing. I stayed available. I same for me. I check my phone too often, I change plans too often, I waited too often for messages that did not come. You did not ask me to do that, I chose to. Now I can choose to stop. I stayed available, I stayed available, but I do not want to live like that anymore. If you ask me to meet, I may already have plans. If you text at midnight, I may answer tomorrow. I stayed available. Now I want my own time back. You never said you wanted to date me, but sometimes you acted very close. You held my hand once, you rested your head on me. Then the next day, you acted like it was normal. I took every small thing as a possible sign, because I wanted a clear yes from you. Your maybe was enough, your maybe was enough. One late call, one long hug, and I would start hoping again. Your maybe was enough, but it was never yes. You kept things unclear, and I kept waiting. You canceled dinner once, after I had already left home. You said something came up, and that was all. 3 days later, you called like normal. I wanted to tell you that I was upset. I did not. I was afraid if I asked where we were, you would tell me we were only friends. You maybe was enough, you maybe was enough. One late call, one long hug, and I would start hoping again. You maybe was enough, but it was never yes. You kept things unclear, and I kept waiting. I do not want maybe, I do not want let's see. I do not want not right now. repeat, yes, I still care about you, but I need something clear. You finished work at 6. You usually got home by 7. You called your sister on Tuesday. You went out most Fridays. I remembered those things because I liked you. You never asked me to learn your routine. You knew a few things about me, but not much. I knew when you were busy and when you were usually free. I knew your schedule. I knew your schedule. I knew when you worked. I knew when you rested. I knew when you might call. I knew when you might be free. I knew your schedule, but I did not know if you thought about me when I was not there. I kept Wednesday nights open because we often had dinner. Then one Wednesday you did not ask. Then another passed, and another on Friday. I saw you with someone else. I knew where you were most days, but I did not know you had started dating someone. I knew your schedule. I knew your schedule. I knew when you worked. I knew when you rested. I knew when you might call. I knew when you might be free. I knew your schedule, but I did not know if you thought about me when I was not there. You did not ask me to plan around you. I did that myself. I kept too much time open because I hoped you would call. That was not good for me. I knew your schedule. I knew your schedule. Now I am changing mine. Wednesday is for my own plans. Friday is for my own plans. I do not need to know where you are tonight. I spent too much time thinking about what you were doing. Now till closing time, then walked to your car. You told me about your family and things you usually keep private. I thought that meant you trusted me in a different way. Then you said goodnight and drove home. For the next 2 days I thought about the conversation. I kept asking myself if you had meant something more. You only said goodnight. You only said goodnight. You did not ask me to stay. You did not say you liked me. You said text me when you're home, because you wanted to know I got there safely. You only said goodnight, that was all. I wanted it to mean more, because I liked you. I woke up early and checked my phone. There was no message until late afternoon. You sent a photo of something you were doing. I answered right away. You answered hours later. I kept treating normal, friendly things like proof that you wanted a relationship. Say you liked me. You said text me when you're home, because you wanted to know I got there safely. You only said goodnight, that was all. I wanted it to mean more, because I liked you. You were kind to me. You were not trying to confuse me. I was the one who wanted more. You did not do anything wrong. I just hoped for something different. You only said goodnight. You only said goodnight. Now I understand what you actually meant. You cared about me as a friend. I wanted more than that, and you did not. You only said goodnight, and I can't accept